ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Lou? Yeah.
The LouieTeeNetwork is powered by MusicHead University. MusicHeads, classes in session. Turn me up. Enroll on YouTube now. Link is in the description.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to Thursday Night Football Overtime. Rams, Niners, NFC West family business. You know how the family do it. Well, wasn't expecting that. Didn't know the weather was going to be so impactful in the first half, and didn't know that the game would turn out the way that it did. I knew it was going to be close, hard fought. That's what division games are all about. I've seen these two teams play a similar game like this without the weather, so very possible. But the weather definitely was impactful in the first half. Second half, different story. You just saw one team who wanted to win and another team who simply did not. And got to take hats off to the Rams for finding a way to get it done. It was not aesthetically pleasing at all, but the name of the game is to win, and they did. 12-6, improving to 8-6 on the season. And they put themselves in a really good spot to try to make the postseason in a very advantageous schedule. And if they win out, they're in, and they're not just in, they're in as the NFC West champions. They have the Jets on the road, then home against Arizona, and home to finish up against Seattle. That may be for the division when it's all said and done. Seattle's got a really tough go of it here down the stretch, so we'll see what happens with them. But for the Niners, I think tonight was a microcosm of their season. They aren't a good football team. They just aren't. This was a total team loss. As much as you would love to absolve the defense because they were so good and they gave the offense so many chances, they were just as culpable for this loss as the offense, as the special teams, and Kyle Shanahan. I thought he was extremely conservative. We'll get to the 49ers. Let's put a pin in that. To the victors go the spoils. Let's talk about the Rams and how they improved to 8-6 on the season with this 12-6 victory. Lots and lots of Kyren Williams. Not really much to talk about in terms of offense for either team. A lot of Kyren Williams, especially in the second half. I thought Stafford was very mid in this game, especially in the first half. I thought the 49ers should have had at least 3 picks in the first half, and they simply could not catch. And it's those type of opportunities that you have to take advantage of. They didn't. And you knew if you keep missing opportunities, eventually this Rams team is going to beat you because they are the better team right now as it stands. And Stafford, I thought, settled in the second half, really was able to settle down because of the run game. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. The run game was exceptional. It opened up things in the past game, got Puka Nacua loose on a deep ball. And like I said, Stafford didn't make the big mistake. I was waiting for him to make the mistake. He tried, right? He tried multiple times, but the 49ers didn't want it. And he took care of the ball, took what the defense was giving him, and, helped them field goal the 49ers to death. Made critical plays late in the game. That throw to Colby Parkinson on that third down to pretty much ice the game was huge. The defense was spectacular. Kobe Turner was almost unblockable, it felt like, in the first half. They did a really good job of bottling up Isaac Guerendo because I felt like somebody was going to, break a big run at some point, and no one did. The biggest run in the game might have been 12 yards, maybe, by the Rams and Kyren Williams. So good job of bottling him up. They were pretty much sticky with all the receivers, except for George Kittle. There were opportunities. We'll talk about that when we get to the 49ers, but big play by Darius Williams on that pick, because that felt like the game, right? It felt like the 49ers needed to tie the game up right there and, if not take the lead, but it definitely needed to get the field goal to make it 9-9 and then kind of go from there. That felt like it took the wind out of their sails, and good job of the Rams then going into sort of a 4-minute offense there, because that pick happened probably with like 6 minutes to go, somewhere in that neighborhood, and they pretty much ate up the rest of the clock, forced the 49ers to use all of their timeouts, and then gave it back to them with about 11 seconds. So, they did the things that they needed to do. Joshua Carty, a lot of respect for him on a nasty night to go 4-4. Even had one tipped, just slightly, and still had to go through the uprights with no issues. So he was huge for them tonight on a night where the conditions were less than ideal. He came out and did what he needed to do, providing all 12 points on the night for the Rams. So total team win for the Rams. McVay stuck to his guns. One of the few things that Kirk Herbstreit got right all night. I was really disappointed with him. This was the first time I looked at Kirk Herbstreit and said, bro, this ain't college. I don't know what the hell you got going on tonight, but you got to get your shit together. You got to learn the rules. I know it might be a little tough because you do both college and the NFL, but you got to learn the rules. One, that's not Trent Williams on the sidelines. And then, Al, I'm disappointed in you because you know what the hell Trent Williams looks like. Maybe Kirk doesn't know what Trent Williams looks like, but you damn sure do. And for you to double down on that's Trent Williams, that's bullshit, right? That's number one. Number two, he didn't hold him. It's pass interference because he blocked him a yard, more than a yard down the field before he caught the football. He didn't even know that rule, right? Clearly, he didn't know why it was pass interference. He's talking about holding him and all kinds of stupid shit. He talked about sliding. Yeah, I love that Stafford didn't slide there because, it's sometimes they mark the ball back when your knee first touches. No, it's when you start the slide. It has nothing to do with when your knee touches. He didn't know what the hell he was talking about tonight. And I was just like, whoa, that was eye-opening for me. Both of them were ass tonight, just like the 49ers were in the game. But speaking of the 49ers, let's start with Brock Purdy because he is a basic. And I always feel bad for teams when you get stuck with a basic and your hands are tied behind your back. They're going to pay him, right? They're going to pay Brock Purdy. I mean, what choice do you have? What choice do you have? It beats the alternative. He's a basic. And the conditions have to be perfect for him. Clearly he's struggling throwing a wet ball tonight. The decision-making is always kind of wishy-washy with him. He threw into some bad crowd. Both quarterbacks did. I don't know what the hell Stafford was thinking when he threw that ball up to the tight end, up the right sideline. And, Talanoa Hufanga was Talanoa Hufunky tonight. I don't give a shit you got a club on your hand. Catch the goddamn football. Shit hit him in his chest, and this man is looking up in the air for the ball. Bitch, it hit you in your chest. Where are we doing this for, right? Then the one that Charvarius Ward plays perfectly, it tips in it. He jumps into the air. What are you jumping for? Stay on your feet, and the ball's going to fall right into your hands. Like, he was awful tonight. But let's stick with Brock Purdy. You had Ricky Pearsall open for a touchdown. Underthrew him. You had George Kittle behind the defense. Underthrew him. He is a guy that has to throw with anticipation. He does not have the arm talent to get that football down the field consistently. He had Jawan Jennings up the right sideline, open behind the defense, throws the ball out of bounds, doesn't give him a chance. He was awful tonight. He was awful. Threw some balls that should have been picked off, right? Bad decisions. Like, they showed a clip when they were playing against the Seahawks, where a little bit of pressure, he's kind of drifting to his left. Instead of him taking off and running, he decides to force it into tight coverage. It gets bad in there, gets picked off. He did that same shit tonight, right? Kind of, muddled pocket, things closing around him. Instead of him getting out of there, he tries to force it in on a slant and it gets batted out down. And I'm like, what are you? He threw it literally in between two Ram defenders and his receiver. And like, what are you doing, guy? Are you serious right now? There was a 0% chance that ball was getting in there. Nothing good could have come of that decision, right? He's in the pocket jumping around and shit before he gets sacked. Like, what are you, dude? What are you doing back there? What are you doing? And then the decision to throw that football that got picked off. It's a very curious decision. I'm not going to kill him, but damn, that was a bad decision. And you have to understand the situation that you're in. Maybe he got fooled by the coverage. Maybe he didn't expect Darius Williams to stay over the top there, but you cannot in a 9-6 game put the ball in harm's way when you're already in field goal range. That is a no. They got what they deserved tonight. It was a dog water performance by a team who has been dog water largely for the entire season. And Kyle Shanahan was not good tonight. I laud and praise him as one of the best offensive play callers. The entire team, outside of the defense, played tight tonight. He coached tight. I'll give you a great example. They hit a 36-yard strike to George Kittle very early in the game. It set up the first scoring opportunity for either one of the two teams in the game. They hit Kittle over the middle, and I thought Kittle should have kept straight, not try to cut it back, but that's no here nor there. They're probably going to end up kicking a field goal regardless. And so the next three plays, run, and run. So I'm thinking he must have run it on third down because it wasn't 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 1. It was like 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 4. So I'm like, he must have run it knowing they were going for it on 4th down, right? No. The kicking unit comes on the field immediately. So you ran it on 1st down. It was a 2-yard gain. You ran it on 2nd down. It was a 3-yard gain. You ran it on 3rd down on 3rd and 5, and you got 1 yard and you kick a field goal. That's what you call great play calling? You were cool with getting 3 points? That's okay. And it's not like you were in chip shot field goal range. It was raining cats and dogs at that point, and you were kicking like a 51-yard field goal. What the hell are you doing? I just thought the whole game plan was flawed, too conservative. But then when you got a quarterback like Brock Purdy that you're not sure what the hell he's going to do with the football, and they couldn't get the easy throws for him, those drift routes, those in-breaking routes wide open because you suck them up with the run. You couldn't get those. So now all of a sudden he's throwing those slants in the tight windows, and he doesn't make the best decisions in the world. So maybe that made Kyle a little nervous in certain situations. I can't speak to that or not, but he didn't call a great game. They didn't open up any, holes for Garindo in the run game. Got to give the Rams credit there. And Brock Purdy, he's not good enough to elevate a team if things aren't going well and guys aren't getting open. He's not throwing open receivers. And then he had open receivers down the field, and he didn't have the ability in wet weather to get the football down the field to his receivers with a chance to make big plays. He was inaccurate. He made poor decisions, and he missed some opportunities. And in a game that ended up being 12-6, where opportunities are scarce, you can't miss opportunities. Speaking of missing an opportunity, Mr. I'm not struggling, I'm just not getting the ball. First of all, any dude that has a podcast, keep him away from my squad, okay? Don't want my guy feeling comfortable enough with having a podcast during the season. You want to have a podcast after the season, in the offseason, you do whatever the hell you want to do. But keep any dude away from my squad that thinks it's okay to have a podcast during the season, okay? So Mr. Flap my gums, I'm not struggling. I'm not getting the ball. And that's a touchdown, by the way, right? That's a touchdown. Brock Purdy didn't have a great night, but he put that one on the money in stride. There's a blocker going to take the one defender that could have stopped him from getting in the end zone. He walks into the end zone. And on a night where not one touchdown was scored, that could have been the difference-making play. And he drops it. I don't got nothing to say to you. I really don't want to hear shit from you after this game. Not when you drop the pass that potentially could have won your team the game. I don't have any words for you, and I really don't want to hear shit from you. So that was really disappointing. And he's been mid this season. And that was a massive play in the game. Massive play in the game. The 49ers, this was a microcosm of their season right here. Without Trent Williams, the run game isn't as effective. They haven't had Christian McCaffrey, so those extra plays where you break a tackle, you make a guy miss, you catch it out of the backfield, you make something happen. They don't have that. So Brock Purdy can't get away with handing it off to McCaffrey, 25 times. He can't get away with throwing a screen to McCaffrey and having him break 2 tackles and score on a 55-yard screen. He's actually got to go make plays. Can't throw it to Brandon Ayuk on a 8-yard in cut and have him break a tackle and get 25. He's got to do it himself, and he can't because he's a basic. So a lot of things fundamentally wrong with the 49ers. It was good to see Dre Greenlaw out there. I hope he's okay because he did not finish this game, and he asked to come out, and he did not come back. Now, he didn't leave the field, so it leads me to believe that whatever's ailing him, it wasn't serious, but it was serious enough to keep him out of the game in the fourth quarter. And boy, did they miss him. Soon as he came out, they started running that football down the Niners' throat. And I watched 45 Fouls Flanagan or whatever his name is get blown up out of the hole where Dre Greenlaw was making that play earlier in the game. He got pushed out of the way, and Kyron Williams ran for like 6-7 yards. And I said, SpaghettiOs. That's not good. That's not good. So they clearly missed him in his presence once he left the game. But Rams are now 8-6. Niners are done this season at 6-8. They weren't going to the playoffs anyway, right? I mean, even if they had won out, which they weren't going to do because they weren't good enough to win out this season. This is who they've been this year. Inconsistent. The inability to find ways to close out games will be their downfall. They could not close out the game tonight. Deebo Samuel had a chance to catch a football, to make a play, to put them in a position to win the game. He could not do it. The defense could not get a stop. The defense could not create a turnover despite having Matthew Stafford try his damnedest to turn it over. They wanted no parts of taking it away tonight. This was a collective effort, a collective failure. I thought Kyle Shanahan was too conservative. The play calling was not good. And on a day where the weather was abysmal, somebody needed to step up and make something happen. And for the 49ers, no one did. Not a single soul stepped up and made something happen. And the defense had chances to create turnovers. The defense had chances to get off the field. Again, Talanoa, who funky, is running in motion. 2 guys going in motion with the receiver, and he leaves the tight end, Parkinson, on the most crucial, critical down of the game, and then is running over to try to get back there. And Stafford's like, don't mind if I do. Thanks. Right? He didn't know what the hell he was doing pretty much the entire fourth quarter. There's another play where he's telling Fred Warner, you go over there. And Warner's like, no, take your ass back over there. What are you doing? Get your ass back over there. Right? He had no clue what he was doing. I know he just got back last week, so don't want to kill him too bad, but damn. They ain't got shit to do with the club, bro. It's all up here. So, rough season for the 49ers. Rough season. And perfect. I think a very fitting end to what has been a really rough season for them. They dropped to 6-8 on the season. So let's get to the odds for the game. Brought to you by BetUS. We'll go inside the odds, come back on the other side, get to the comment section, and then we will get out of here. This was not a game with a ton of excitement, so I'm not going to sit here and bore you to death with the details of a 12-6 game with no touchdowns scored. It really wasn't a lot to chew on. Just a lot of mistakes, a lot of sloppiness, but the Rams made enough plays to win, and they go home happy. Let's go inside the odds, brought to you by BetUS.
Inside the odds.
Looking for a new book? BetUS has you covered. Fastest payouts in the industry. Get back up to 10% on your net losses twice a year, as long as you're active within a 6-month period. And get this, if you're a new user to BetUS, use the promo code YouTube150 to get your 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000. Also, 125% on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000 when you use the promo code YouTube150. Also, make sure that you bet responsibly. Don't bet more than you can afford to lose. And also, do not chase your losses. So, I really wanted to grab the odds for the division in the NFC West, but I waited too late, too close to game time. They had taken those odds down, so I wasn't able to grab that. Would have loved to have seen what they had the odds prior to this game as, but this was the spread. 49ers were 3-point favorites, and obviously they not only didn't cover the spread, the Rams won outright. And the money line or the total on the game, 48.5. I told you I thought it was going to be 26-20, so I had 46. So I was on the under on that total. I would have been correct. I had no idea that they would not break 20 combined points in the game. But again, I didn't know the weather would be as impactful as it ultimately was. That said, the Rams find a way to get it done, and the Niners don't cover the spread. The Rams won outright. So big shout out to BetUS for providing us with those odds. So let's get to the comment section. Y'all know how this works. For those of you who do not, use the hashtag LouieTLive to have your comment read on the air if it is pertinent. If you want to ensure that your comment is read, super chats are the way to get that done. And it allows you to jump straight to the front of the line and ensure that your comment is shown and reacted to on the screen. So let's get to the comment section quickly. Alex Kurz, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Alex Kurz writes, man, I should have just let you tell me about this game. Overall, it was good to see how much different JD5 is. It's just good to not be in that position. That some of these teams, you look around the league and you look at some of these teams in their quarterback situation, and you realize, man, some teams are just stuck. Like, that's the best you can do, and it's a damn shame. But like Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence, I think they're stuck. They already paid him. There's nothing you can do. Feel bad for you, but you made your bed, now you got to lie in it, right? I think the 49ers are probably in a similar spot with Brock Purdy, right? What are you going to do? Not pay him? Dallas Cowboys, what are you going to do? Not pay Dak Prescott, right? You're stuck. Not my problem, but it's a sad existence. It's a tough place to be. And it makes you grateful for having a guy like Jaden Daniels at quarterback. And seeing how bright the future is in Washington, because that's rough. Watching Purdy struggle to push the ball down the field tonight, watching him make a poor decision at the most inopportune time. Again, he didn't drop the pass to Deebo Samuel. He did what he needed to do there, and if that's caught, maybe the outcome's different, and we're talking about Brock Purdy in a different light tonight. But, you know, he struggled. He did struggle. And it does make you appreciative of what you have when you see guys struggling the way he struggled tonight. And I think, you know, the elements might have gotten to him a little bit tonight too. You know, he already doesn't have a very strong arm as is. So throwing a wet ball probably does not help in the case of a Brock Purdy. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate it. And let me just say this too, Alex. That was certainly one of those games where you're like, yeah, I could have passed on that. I could have just let you tell me about it. We had no idea the weather was going to be as impactful as it ultimately was. But yeah, you could have just left this one for me, right? Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, no 40 burger tonight. This was Ritz cracker sandwich. Hey, Ritz crackers be bomb, right? As long as you got something to wash them down with, they can get a little thick. They can get stuck. But as long as you got something to wash them down with, as a wise man once said, it's still good. It's still good. I bet you that those Ritz crackers taste just as good as that 40 burger did against Buffalo. All tastes delicious. It's all a dub. It's all delicious at the end of the day, right? So 12-6, 44-42. It's all the same. It goes down in the record books as a dub. It goes in the left-hand column. Again, 3 weeks from now, we ain't parsing through this win and saying, oh, they only won 12-6. It's just a win. You know, we'll make a big deal out of it in the moment. Like, you know, the Eagles beating the Panthers 22-16. We made a big deal of it in the moment because it's fun to do. But 3 weeks from now, who gives a shit? They beat the Panthers. They did what they were supposed to do, right? Same thing here, right? 12-6, not pretty, but it's a win. You move on, right? Get it done and keep it pushing. That's what they did. So, Niners fan, right? So my main takeaway from the game in this season is that we can't give Brock Purdy a massive extension. His arm is simply not good enough to carry inferior rosters. And it's unfortunate, you're right, but he's getting that extension. Whether you like it or you don't like it, he's getting that extension, my friend. You're not going to just let him walk, because nobody wants to be without a quarterback in the game of quarterback musical chairs. Nobody wants to be without a seat. And if you let Brock Purdy walk, somebody that doesn't currently have a quarterback will quickly grab him up, and then you'll be looking for a quarterback. Maybe you can go sign your old friend Sam Darnold to come back and play in your offense. I don't know. Yeah, you're going to sign Brock Purdy to an extension, my friend. Niners fan also writes, also, Debo needs to go. He's a distraction to the team and specifically to Kyle. He gets obsessed with trying to get him the ball. I didn't have any issues with him trying to get him the ball tonight. I expect the Eagles to go out of their way to get A.J. Brown the football on Sunday, right? It's what happens when the squeaky wheel gets the oil, right? If complaining about getting the football didn't work, guys wouldn't do it, right? But it works. So that's why guys do it. And Debo complained. He got targets. He got carries. He didn't do shit with him. He didn't do anything with him. And then he got one that could have been a game-changing play, and he dropped the bitch. So, again, at the end of the day, shut your damn mouth and play. Shut your damn mouth and play. And this is what happens when you don't. When you open your mouth, you open yourself up to scrutiny. And if you don't produce, this is what happens. Now he's got to face the music. He says, lastly, Dre Greenlaw is a huge difference maker. I agree. He said the defense should be built around him, Fred, Boza, and Lenore, and more young talent for next year. Clearly, you could see the difference he made defensively. Clearly. Metaphor says, pick the Rams, but sure would take the L for a Niners win and Rams playoff chances dropping. I picked the 49ers because I thought they'd win the game. Like, this had nothing to do with wanting the 49ers to win because of what that would have done for my favorite team's chances. This was all about thinking the 49ers were going to take care of a Rams team that was coming off of an emotional high. But I knew that what they did against Buffalo that's not like what I expect from them moving forward. Like, I knew they would come back crashing to earth. I had no idea that the weather would be what it was. I just knew that the 49ers would play better defense than Buffalo did. It's a family business. This game wasn't going to be high scoring and never was going to be high scoring. I didn't expect 12-6, but I thought San Francisco could do enough to win. And they had their chances, right? They had open receivers down the field. They had opportunities tonight that the Rams did not have afforded to them, right? Stafford didn't miss guys running wide open down the field, but Purdy did. They didn't drop a pass that might have been a touchdown, but San Francisco did, and Deebo Samuel did. Sean McVay didn't get conservative after a 36-yard gain and run it 3 straight times, including a run on 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 4, and just settle for a field goal, but Kyle Shanahan did. The 49ers had their opportunities. The Rams tonight didn't drop 3 or 4 picks, but the 49ers did. And when the opportunity came for them to catch one, they did, and they won the game. One team wanted it, the other didn't. Commander Joe says Purdy is trash. I won't call him trash, but he's not a difference maker. He's a basic. He's a guy that if you put talent around him, you put him in, like, this scheme is made for him. Tailor-made for him. He gets it out of his hand on time. He's accurate when he's decisive, and he sees it and he cuts it loose. Like, he's made for this system. But if you take him out of this system and you put him somewhere else, he will struggle. He'll be like a fish out of water. And that's okay. Right? That's okay. Ebad Shamim writes, thank you, Bills, for playing horrid defense and 49ers for playing horrid offense and making us Commanders fans sweat a bit more for our playoff chances. This is what it's all about. If you want it, go get it. Right? There are no handouts, no freebies. We had our chances to stake our claim and make it easy on ourselves. We should have beat Pittsburgh. We should have beat Dallas. We didn't win those games. And again, it probably all balanced out because we bullshitted around with the Bears and let them come back. And then we had to get, fate had to intervene and help us steal one that we had no business getting after we should have won that game easily without the mistakes. So we're probably right where we should be. When it's all said and done, now go win it. You got 4 games left. None of 3 out of 4 of them are against teams with losing records. Go win, right? I expect the Falcons to win this Monday and improve to 7-7. But I don't know who their opponent is after that. But there's a chance we get to them, and they don't have a winning record either. But go take care of business. Go take care of business. Would have loved to have had it be set up to where we were kind of comfy cozy, but that wasn't in the cards. Go win. Go win. Ebad Shamim. Oh, excuse me. I got a super here. Tivo the Don. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Kobe Turner is a beast. Yes, he is. I'm so jealous when I watch interior defensive linemen who are actually about that life, take care of business, knowing that once upon a time, we had a guy that used to do that. Not anymore, but it must be nice when you got a guy that can split double teams, harass the quarterback, flush him out of the pocket, sack him twice. That was all in the first half, by the way. 4 pressures, 2 sacks. The Purdy interception that he threw, Kobe Turner was in his face, probably forced him to throw it a little bit further than he wanted to. Yeah, he's an animal, man. He's an animal. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. TiVo the Don. Yeah. It was so nice you had to say it twice. Yeah, Kobe Turner's a beast. For sure. Totally agree with that assessment. All right, where did we leave off? Right here. Ebad Shamim writes, Debo says he's not getting the ball, and this is the performance he comes up with in a must-win game. Facts. Sherry writes, do you think the Seahawks-Rams Week 18 game will be flexed to Sunday Night Football? As of right now, yes. Normally, that final game of the regular season is winner takes all, or it's two teams that are both going to the playoffs, but the winner wins the division, that type of deal. Yeah, I do. But again, we don't know what one team could totally collapse, and the division's already locked up by then, and that game doesn't mean a thing, but it's trending towards that final game of the season being for the division. And if it is for the division, yeah, that'll be Sunday Night Football for sure. So it's trending in that direction. I don't think there's another divisional matchup that could have those types of stakes on the line outside of Minnesota, Detroit. I believe they play in Week 18. And if Minnesota refuses to go away, I personally think the Bills are going to beat Detroit this week. So if Minnesota refuses to go away, that could be for the division, and that would be the one that gets flexed, not Seahawks and Rams. Sometimes they prefer to go with win and in, lose and go home situations, because both the Vikings and the Lions are going to make the playoffs. I mean, the Lions have already clinched a playoff berth. The Vikings have essentially done the same at this point. So I don't know if they would pick that one over a win and you're in, lose and you go home type of situation. Win or go home. Feels like that one's going to get flexed, but you never know. Knuckles Media Fiends. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, after tonight, Debo, don't complain. Facts. Facts. I said earlier, I don't really care to hear what he has to say. I wonder how he's going to try to phrase that one, how he's going to try to, clean that one up. I'm pretty sure he'll just own it. I mean, what else can you say? It's a blatant drop of a perfect pass that would have probably resulted in a touchdown in a game that at the time was 3-3 and had no touchdowns on the night. That would have changed everything. That might have changed the way Sean McVay approached some of those fourth downs, where instead of kicking the field goal, he might have opted to go for it, trying to be aggressive, trying to match the 49ers touchdown, and maybe not have gotten it. And now all of a sudden you're in a position to win the game. But with you kicking a field goal, all you had to do is continue to match your field goals and then eventually pass you and then win the game. So that was a big one. That's a big drop. Absolutely a big drop. Gear Cell 1. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Gear Cell 1. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Debo wears silver skin yoga pants on game days. Tragic. Let me say something to you, Gear Cell 1. You inspired me to buy yoga pants. I bought 2 pairs of yoga pants on Black Friday. I love them. Now, there's nothing on the ass. There's no faces. My ass isn't out or any of that stuff. But they're good, comfortable, wholesome yoga pants. So thank you for inspiring me. All right. Thank you for the inspiration. Anyway, I digress. See where we left off at. Sherry writes, Ravens Steelers, the only matchup in the NFL that can be really low scoring and no one would complain. Yeah, I mean, it's not the only one, but it's the one that always seems to be that way. And when it happens, like you said, there usually aren't many complaints because I think low-scoring games suck when you go in expecting points to be scored. The only time a low-scoring game isn't a bad thing is when you go in expecting no points to be scored, right? You expect a low-scoring game. And in those games with the Ravens and the Steelers, you expect low-scoring affairs. You already know what you're getting, right? We expected points. I mean, the Rams scored 44 last week, so people expected points to be scored in this game. And, of course, it wasn't. You know, the 49ers had their best offensive showing of the season last week. And they were getting players back. So they were expecting points to be scored. And they weren't. So, again, I guess I didn't have any issues with the game. I enjoyed it, right? I've seen these two teams play games like this before, not to this degree, right? Not where, you know, Cooper Kupp, did he even have a catch tonight? Not where it's the lowest scoring game in the you know, through 3 quarters in the series' history or anything like that. But yeah, it was pretty rough. Metaphor says, can't point to one play, but I will. Debo's drop was 6, lost 4 points on that play. Niners coulda even going for a dub at the end, needing only 15 yards. Oh yeah, that's a great point. I'm glad that you jogged my memory on this. Brock Purdy is so ass. He had a chance on that outcut to Ricky Pearsall, right? And he airmails the outcut. And if you complete that, he's getting out of bounds. There's 6 seconds. And now you got a legitimate shot at the end zone, right? And he misses. I was just saying, you bum. You basic. Get him out of here, man. You know, nothing worse than the guy that spits when he doesn't have spit in his mouth. I hate guys that do that shit, where you're scraping your tongue just to get a little a sliver of saliva so you can spit. Stop spitting. It's wet everywhere. What you need to spit for? He's just spitting just to spit. That's trash. Kevin the PRF says, despite all the roster success, missing on a top 3 pick you trade up for is devastating. Yeah, man. It's hard to overcome. Look, they caught a break when they drafted Brock Purdy as Mr. Irrelevant. They caught a break because really they are supposed to be playing with some form of CJ Beathard right now because of that miss, right? But remember, had Brock Purdy not emerged, they would have tried to make Trey Lance work. They would have never traded him. They only traded him because they felt like Brock Purdy was the future at the quarterback position. So, yeah, they missed on Trey Lance, but they never really gave him a chance to see if he could develop in that scheme. We all see that he's not good, but, you know, maybe he would have been better in the Shanahan scheme, you know, with a definitive run game, easy throws and completions for him. You know, maybe he would have thrived and flourished in the scheme. Maybe he could have gotten some Bob Griffin type, production out of him had he got into the scheme for 2, 3, 4 years. But we'll never know. But yeah, when you trade up for a guy, it doesn't pan out, and it definitely hurts you. But we can't say that that's what happened to the 49ers because they went to the Super Bowl. They've been to the NFC Championship game every year up until this year. So, you know, the injuries really is what's the cause for a lot of this. The last time they were this bad, it was the same thing. 2019, went to the Super Bowl. Next year, everybody on the roster got hurt. They lost a bunch of games. I think they went 6-10, 7-9. Same thing happened this year, right? Went to the Super Bowl. Everybody got hurt the next year. and they're right back to where they were in 2020. So, but they had a run, 21, 22, 23, NFC Championship game every year. So you can't say that the trade hurt them because they've been to the championship game every year and went to the Super Bowl last year. Just injuries, man. Just injuries. John Wynn. I wasn't trying to make fun of your play. I'm just saying you guys don't have a chance to make the playoffs without Noah Brown around. John, and we're not trying to make fun of you, but you sound crazy. Now, we may ultimately not make the playoffs, but it won't be because of Noah Brown, bro. It's what we're trying to tell you, okay? If we don't make the playoffs, it's because we just didn't take care of business. Noah Brown is a solid part of our team, but by no means is he the heartbeat of our offense. So, yeah. I'll just say this. You didn't make it any better by saying that. You didn't make your situation any better. If that makes any sense. Kevin the PRF writes, don't keep me in suspense until tomorrow. Give me all the insight on hours and hours of breakdown of tape of Jake Haener. If he's to start, I would assume he's going to start. He gives them the best chance. Spencer Rattler, I've seen enough of him in his rookie season to know that he really doesn't give you much of a chance to do anything. Haener does. I mean, it's not great, but it's better than Spencer Rattler. All right. Metaphor says, Niners fans like, we got one of them buns. Hey, chill, bro. Chill. Face Vengeance says, Devondre Campbell told the team he didn't want to play anymore in the third quarter and left the game. I don't even know what are you talking about? Wait a minute. What are you talking about? I don't even know what you're talking about. No way. All right. That's Vontae Davis with the Bills at halftime. I don't believe you. You need more people. That can't be true. That cannot. No, I don't want to believe that. Oh man, all that talk, all the time. Excuse me. Right? Amazon Nightcap just reported that Devondre Campbell told the coaches he didn't want to play after Dre Greenlaw went down. Sounds like a guy who was hurt. He lost his spot to a man. Oh, wow. So that is true. That's crazy. That's wild. So he essentially pulled a Deontay Johnson. Remember, he got traded to the Ravens. He wasn't getting a lot of playing time. They told him to go in like in the third quarter of the game against the Eagles. He hadn't been in yet. And he's like, nah, I'm good. Don't want to go in. You put somebody else in the game. They're like, go get out there. He's like, nah, I'm good. Don't try to put me in the game now. And Devondre was like, yeah, I'm out, bro. That's wild. That's when you know the culture ain't good, though. Right? You don't have, like, we make fun of some of the guys that they draft in Washington over the years that were quote unquote Boy Scouts, but you never had to worry about stuff like that. Like, this is why you go after guys that are team captains, guys that love, like, you got to figure out who really truly loves football, who are good character guys that aren't going to let their brothers down. Like, you not only showed your ass, you let your teammates down when you do that shit. You and your feelings because you were only in because Dre Greenlaw was out with injury. He comes back. It's his spot. And you don't want to go in the game. And I don't know the entire story. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what transpired, what made him. Maybe he just didn't want to play football no more. It was wet. Look, I don't know if you've ever been on the sideline of a game where you're not getting in, you're not playing, and it's raining like hell. It is the worst environment you can be in. to be on the sideline of a football game that you're not playing in, and it is soaking wet. It is the worst feeling I've ever had in sports. That's the type of situation where you're like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to do this shit no more. That's wild. I guess we'll hear more about that in the coming days. That's wild if that's true. And I have no reason to believe it's not true if y'all are saying Amazon is reporting it, the post-game show. That's wild. All talk all the time says if the Seahawks win against the Packers Sunday night and we win as expected, we jump to the 6th. That would be huge. Yeah, it would be. But again, the name of the game is win, right? We got to take care of the Saints, and then we can start talking about what comes thereafter, right? But we're in a position where we just got to keep winning football games. We can't worry about anybody else or what anybody else has going on. All we need to focus on is the fight that we're in, because that's the most important fight. That's it. I saw a, they got the little ticker at the bottom. My son was watching NFL Network before the game started, and it said the Falcons played 3 of their final 4 games against teams with 3 or less wins on the season. How do they not win the division? The Bucs are playing the Chargers this week. All the Falcons have to do is finish with the same record as the Bucs, and they win that division. They're playing the Raiders. They're playing the Giants and the Panthers and us. Those are their final 4 games. Even if they don't beat us, they theoretically should win those other 3 games. How do they not win the division? Well, I'll tell you how. Kirk Cousins. Young Wei Koo. We'll see what happens. Unbelievable. Y'all are stupid, man. DCJ. Right. Yo, Lou, quick question. Why don't defenses run blitz or collapse more often when offenses clearly check out of the play with said call kill in they tap head, which is a clear run play coming? It's not always. All kill means is they call it 2 plays in the huddle. Now, to your point, a lot of times when they kill, it's usually they're checking to a run, but that's not always the case. It could have been a run play called. He goes kill, and they go to a pass. But generally, they had 2 plays called in the huddle. They called the first one. They get a different look. The second play is more advantageous against the look that they're getting. They kill the first play, go to the second play. Right? And you don't want to guess wrong. Oh, okay, kill. They got to be running it. You run blitz. They go play action fake, and they hit you for a big play. Like, got to be careful. Shadow Striker says, it's true. Ha, ha, ha. He pulled himself out, and Char Ward said he'll probably be cut. Oh, he's Dunsky. There's no probably about that. And the thing about that is, I can't think of another team that would be like, well, that he just did that with the 49ers. He won't do that with us. Like, that's a sign of you don't want to play football anymore. So his career might be over. You pull a stunt like that, your career's done. Face Vengeance said, Kyle said it at the podium. Yeah, he's done. But that's I think that's again, I said tonight was a microcosm of their season. That is a microcosm of their season, right? John Wynn says Amazon going to be added to the playoff game this season. Amazon Prime just notified me. Yeah, I just saw the commercial. I just learned that today. I was today years old when I realized that one of those wild card games is going to be on Amazon. The NFL they out of control, man. They need to be stopped. Somebody needs to stop the NFL. They're out of control right now. DCJ writes, especially with the quarterback like Stafford who aren't as mobile, even most times, especially with certain teams, their formations are giveaway, hence leaning towards a run play. A lot of times, like I don't disagree with you. A lot of times when you go to when you hear kill, 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 and you're under center, it's either, you know, you were running to the left and now you're running to the right. It was probably a run play all along. Or it might have been a quick pass, but now it's a run. Or it might have been a run and now you're going to rise up and throw a quick slant or something like that. I mean, it's usually a run, but it's not always a run. It's not always a run. Rocky D says, I hope the NFC West is not a two-bid division. Washington better win. Restart the whole process over for the Rams. I still think the NFC West is a one-bid division. But, you know, all of a sudden, that was already a big game on Sunday night, right? Think about it. If the Rams somehow come back and win that division, and the Seahawks need to get in as a wild card, it may not be us that they're after. It could be Green Bay, right? We just talked about the fact that we could leapfrog Green Bay for the 6th seed. I expect Green Bay to go in there and win. But if the Seahawks beat them, both of them are then 9-5 on the season. Now they own the tiebreaker over Green Bay. They beat them head to head. We would leapfrog Green Bay. They would then be the 7th seed. Let's say the next week after that, Seattle loses. I don't know who they're playing, but they got a brutal schedule down the stretch. I think they're playing Minnesota next week, is Seattle. And let's say they, lose that game the following week. And all of a sudden now they're, and let's say Green Bay loses. I don't know who they play after that either, but let's say Green Bay loses because they got Minnesota one more time too. And that game's got to be coming up here shortly. So within the next 2 weeks or so. And let's say they end up both tied. Well, Green Bay could be on the outside looking in, right? Who knows? It could get really convoluted. A Seahawks win could make things very interesting. I'll say that. I honestly, at this point, I'm not sure. I'm just going to remain confident in Washington's ability to win and take care of business and say that I'm rooting for Seattle. I'm rooting for Seattle. Because if they lose, and now you got 2 8-6 teams, the Rams have beat Seattle head to head, and they have a better division record because they beat Seattle, they swept the 49ers, and they lost to the Cardinals. That's the only game they've lost in the division right now. They play the Cardinals again, and they play the Seahawks again. So they're currently 3-1, which is a better mark than Seattle has in the division. So if Seattle loses on Sunday, the Rams would take over first place in the division. And then Seattle then becomes the team that's trailing us in the wild card. So it could get really funky quick. Whatever happens in that game is going to make it funky. But I would prefer a Seattle win because I'm just focused on moving up. I'm not worried about any nonsense going on behind us. If we win, we take care of our business. What's going on behind us is of no consequence. I'm just worried about what's going on in front of us. We're trying to move up like the Jeffersons. So I'm just going to trust the process. Win is what I'm concerned with. Just win. Everything else will take care of itself. Casper the Barbarian writes, Campbell pulled a fully clothed AB out there. Yeah, good one. Good one. That's wild. That man was like, nah, I'm good. Matter of fact, I'm out this bitch, man. See y'all later. Like, okay, so the 49ers were at home. I was about to say, they're not even home, though. How he getting home? He went to his locker, put back on the clothes he walked into the building with, and bounced. And he's done. He's getting cut. All right. So he just bounced. Like, he's probably done. Like, NFL wise, he probably made up in his mind tonight, I don't want to play no more. And he's been in the league a while, so it's not like he had a whole lot of years left in the NFL. What is he probably? He's probably 31 years old, somewhere in that neighborhood, right? That's crazy, though. Lang Hughes. Yeah, Rams versus Hawks benefits us no matter who wins, low-key. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Lang Hughes says, does Purdy always underthrow like that? A lot of times he doesn't have a strong arm. It's not always like that. But I do think the weather exacerbated his inability to drive the football down the field. All right. That was the last comment. So we'll get out of here. 12-6 was the final tonight. If you didn't watch the game, good job. You didn't miss anything. For those of us who did watch the game, I didn't have an issue with the game. But a wise man once said, more games in the NFL are lost than there are won. Tonight was one of those moments where that rang true. This game was not necessarily won. It was lost by the 49ers. But somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to lose. And the Rams found a way to win tonight, 12-6. They improved to 8-6. And now just a half game back of the first place Seattle Seahawks, who play the Green Bay Packers on Sunday Night Football in what should be a massive showdown. All of a sudden, that game has all kinds of playoff implications. It is dripping and oozing with playoff implications. So many different directions. So that one is going to be really, really good. And for the 49ers, a season that has been lost, was polished off tonight. And then we get the word that Devondre Campbell quit on them. It is a fitting end to what has been a lousy season for the San Francisco 49ers. Anyway, I digress. You guys have a good one. Take care. Give a big shout out to BetUS for sponsoring the stream. If you're looking for a new book, BetUS is the book for you. Fastest payouts in the industry. Get up to 10% back on your net losses twice a year as long as you've been active in the past 6 months. And if you have never used BetUS before, if you're a brand new user, use the promo code YouTube150 to get you a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit of up to $2,000 and a 125% sign-up bonus on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000 when you use the promo code YouTube150. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T. I look forward to chopping it up with you guys next time. Enjoy the weekend. If you are a subscriber of MusicHead University, I got my Christmas playlist dropping tomorrow. So looking forward to that. For the rest of you, I'll see you over the weekend, Sunday to be exact. I'll be here post game of the Commanders Saints contest, and then obviously Sunday Night Football. That's a big one. We've talked about it tonight. Seahawks, Packers. I'll be here post game for that. We got a doubleheader on Monday night. 2 nasty games, but the second one is just downright dirty, dick, dastardly. Falcons and Raiders. Yuck. But somebody's got to win. Just like tonight, somebody had to win. Somebody's got to win. So I'll see you guys on Sunday. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll reconvene back here on Sunday. Until then, you guys have a good one. Take care. God bless. Good night.